because I've been really into knitting since November. I figured let's try this again. Yeah, let's try this with yarn. So again, this is the Rit Dye Synthetic and Graphite. So this is going to be more of a gray, and then this is the Jacquard. Yeah, I think Jacquard I-Dye Poly in black. So I love this dye. I love the way even though the last time I used it, these two looked the same, except this one was maybe a smidge darker. But I will admit, I had too much fabric in there. So we're going to take the yarn swift that I have, and we're going to put up some yarn. It's mostly going to be pinks. There will be, I think, a skein of like an orangey color, mustard color, that we're going to dye and see how well. So the pinks and the mustard I'm going to use. I feel like there's something else, but I can't remember. But we'll get there. So I'm going to use my yarn swift. You'll get to see me yarn swift these. I'll also show you how to do the same thing with the chair, because that's how I learned. I learned on a chair how to wrap this stuff. So I'll do one on the yarn swift, one on the chair. That's not going to change how the dyeing works. These will affect the dyeing. So let's get into this. Okay, since I didn't clean my sewing room this year and I messed with my yarn, we're going to just see how messy my room got. Okay, so I have this pink yarn. I don't normally use pink. This is usually better if you can get all 4 legs, but because I only have, this kind of a chair, not a stool. Stools are probably better. Because then you get 4 legs. Also, you want them not to be tapered as much, but what can you do? Okay. So, I'm gonna put a knot here. So when I did this for class, we only got to do so many rounds because it was like, oh, this is so many, and that's how much feet you get. So you just wrap. I can't remember if we did a figure 8 or not. I don't think we did a figure 8. So you just wrap. Take this piece and just find a spot and knot it just like I did in the beginning. I realize now the best way to do it is actually to put loops, like slip knots here, and then tie the ends, so that's okay. So this can also be done with like scrap yarn or, you know, leftover bits. I'm hoping that's long enough. This is what you want to do. Split it in a couple different spots. Yeah, this is not long enough. Okay. I have other yarn that I can use, but I'm going to use this one. So you want to kind of split it and kind of figure eight it around, and then go back. Either you can split this you know, a little more. Okay, so now that they're all done, now it's gonna be the fun part of trying to get the one side off. This is why I said it's better if you have a straight leg. So I'm just gonna kind of pull, and this is where it gets a little tight because of the fact that it's angled. Because of this, that's why I'm struggling. So once I get those popped off, then I have a thing that is meant to be dyed. So that's with the chair, and I'm going to use my yarn swift to show what that does. Plus I'm just really excited to use it. So I put my yarn swift on here. Probably not a good idea. I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to go roughly that way. So the good thing about a yarn swift is that you're able to adjust it. So if I want a larger sleeve, I can go like this. I'm going to go smaller. And taking it off this, I'm assuming it's going to be super easy. So you can see with my yarn swift. So I'm going to get this started. This is like super old. Let me get the tag. Super old yarn. It's called Honey Spin yarn. It doesn't have a date, but it's from Target, and it was $1.09. And this is Orlon and Decron. I don't know. But yeah, this is super old yarn. I'm not sad if this gets ruined because it's yarn that was gifted to me. So, because I've never used the yarn swift before, this is going to be fun attaching because I have no clue how to attach yarn. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with the other one. This, and then I'm going to tie it here because I'm just going to do this. Aha! See? And I'm getting used to it. So I'm going to just tie it here with a quick knot that if I have to snip it, it's not a big deal. Again, this is yarn that was gifted to me. So I'm just gonna sit here, and this is the cool thing also about the yarn swift. I just got this in. You can just sit here and So now that I have the yarn swift full of yarn, which took me roughly maybe like 2 minutes faster than doing the legs, only when I got the hang of speeding through it. I'm going to do the same thing with having 4 pieces. So I'm going to have 4 pieces, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to probably do it in like these areas where it's a little bit more spacious than up against here. Okay, now that those are all done, as you can see when I lower it, it comes right off. I will say, so this is the yarn swift, and this is the chair. So you can see how the yarn swift makes a longer section than this one. It's still roughly the same amount of yarn, just one's a little bit more smaller in size than the other one. So I'm gonna do this. Let's go like this. I'm gonna do this to a couple more skeins of yarn to try different colors, mostly pinks. I do have a yellow that I'm gonna do, and then now we're gonna get started with dyeing. We'll start with the red dye first. So I'm out here with no tripod because I got lazy, but I do have right there my pot of water. I am soaking my yarn to make sure that, you know, it's wet before I put it in. You always want to make sure it's wet, and I have it in here while it's heating, so I don't have to worry about you know, when you're cooking and you put something cold in a hot pan, it does whatever, cools the pan down. I'm really tired. I'm gonna pull out this yarn right before I put in the dye. Dye safety. This pot that I'm using is my dye pot. The hot pan that it's on, because I'm not allowed to do this inside, my dye pan. The spoon that I use, my dye spoon. I do actually have measuring spoons also that are only for dye. You do not want to mix your dye stuff with your food stuff. Should I be wearing gloves? Yes. Am I? No. So probably wear gloves, especially if this is your first time. I've been dyeing for so long and I'm usually really careful. Also wear clothes, like I'm wearing this like black shirt because I don't mind. Actually it's a sweater because it's cold, and when I'm literally in the shade because I'd rather be in the shade than in the sun, even though it's winter. Wear something that you're okay with getting dye on. So yeah, we'll heat this up, and once it's heated up I will come back and you'll get to see me hopefully with the tripod, and so you can see me putting in the dye and all the stuff that is involved with red dye. So on the ground, so for every pound they want to use half the bottle. I have about a pound in here, but personally I don't feel like trying to calculate half a pound. I mean, half a bottle, half a pound. Yeah, because it says for every pound you put half the bottle. So if you have 2 pounds, then you put the whole bottle. The reason I think I'm gonna put the whole bottle is because of the fact that with the other one it's a packet. Because of the fact that it's a packet, I can't, like, if it says, you know, half a packet for every pound, if it says for 2 pounds, like, that's not even tested. I will double check that one before we start. But most likely I'm going to use the whole bottle, because that's the type of person I am. A little bit lazy. That is also kind of the reason why I'm dyeing fabric, is because I don't want to keep buying more yarn in a color that I like, if that makes sense. I love working with the darker colors because I'm more willing to wear the darker colors. I have so many colors that have been bought over the years, or most of them have been gifted to me, and it's colors that I'm not going to use. So me dyeing the yarn the color that I need, it works out for me. So still waiting for this to heat up. It's probably going to be a while because it is winter. Like I already said, it is winter time. So this takes forever to heat up, plus I'm not in the sun. So this would be faster if I was on the stove at home. Inside, in the house, it would be faster. But this is what I got. This is the setup I'm using. So we'll see. And on the directions also say half an hour minimum, to 60 minutes maximum. We'll see. I'll check probably when I put the stuff in 30 minutes, see, and then, you know, because I want to make sure it's even. I like to do everything even. So it's gonna, you know, if I'm doing 2 pounds for this one, 2 pounds for that one, you know, I'm gonna do, if this says 30 minutes, that one says 30 minutes, if I'm gonna do, or if that one says 60, I'm gonna do 60. So, in the last one I did 45 minutes because I was So I have the yarn in the bathtub drip drying because of the rain that's supposed to happen. So this one was pink. It looks kind of purple to me. This one came out kind of green. It also looks very green on the screen. And then that one also came out purple. So we won't know until this is actually fully dry how it'll look. So we'll put this into the Yarn Swift to see what it looks like when it's dry. Okay, here are the Rit dye ones dried. They're splotchy. This one I think is the Oran. Let's see, the Oran Daikon blend. This one I think is 100% polyester. The Lions brand I think was also, no, Lions brand was acrylic and polyester. So I'm getting the pot ready for the dye poly, and we'll see how it compares. So I got the yarn in for the poly. We're waiting for it to heat up, and it's got a lot of bubbles this one. For some reason the yarn has a lot of air. Going off the directions on this one. So this is for 2 to 3 pounds, where the other one was just only for 2 pounds. This has kilograms of fabric, not pounds. Okay. And this one also says half an hour to an hour. What I did was I did 45 minutes hot, stirring every 15 minutes with the Rit dye, and turning it off for about 15 minutes before rinsing it out. So we'll see how well this works. So we'll come back to putting this in. I'm at the 45-minute mark, and one thing I've noticed is when I go like this and the water drips, I don't get as much runoff. I don't know how to explain it. Like when I did the Rit dye and this water from the lid would hit the fiber, it would essentially kind of rinse off the color. So I'm at the 45-minute mark. I'm going to turn off the heat, recover this. I'm going to stir it, and then I was gonna do something. I can't remember what it was. Oh, let it dry, and then we can see what it looks like. So this is from the dye poly. For some reason, my phone is having this like super like yellow and this super pink, but they're a little bit more muted. This one's also super dark compared to the actual screen. But they're wet, so we won't know what they'll fully look like until they're dry, and they usually dry 2 shades later. So Rit dye might not be, not Rit dye, the dye poly might not be as good as I was hoping. Okay, so these 3 are the Rit dye, these 3 in the back are the dye poly. As you can see, the Rit dye took a little bit better than the dye poly. Even though these 2 look very similar, but you can tell with the one that was yellow, this one took a little bit better. And I think these 2 were different yarns anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So, as you can see, the difference between the Rit dye and the dye poly, not the colors that I wanted. I am open to suggestions to trying. I do plan on trying to do one with acrylic, water and fabric, acrylic paint with water and fabric softener, and see how that does. I'm open to trying other things to get yarn to dye black, essentially, at this point. So, yeah, I think that's what I'm planning on doing, is trying different, I'll grab different colors of black, different price ranges of black acrylic. So, that's the end of the video.
Yeah. So we can see what polyester dye does with actual yarn. Not as good as fabric, so now we know.